So TGR Trades is worth over $20 million and he's just 23 years old and nobody really understands how. People see the Koenigsegg, the Rolls Royce, the Puerto Rico mansion and assume that he just got lucky trading crypto. But after spending hundreds, if not thousands of hours studying his content strategy, I can tell you it's a lot more calculated than anyone gives him credit for. His losses while trading crypto somehow make him more money than his wins. His content strategy is borderline addictive by design, and every car he buys somehow makes him richer than the one he bought before. So today, I'm gonna break down every single layer of how he built his $20 million empire so you can take the same principles and apply them to your own brand and your own business. Now, Tyler Jordan Riches grew up in Los Altos, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley. His great-grandparents built a private school in the Bay Area that charges around $50,000 a year just for tuition, which his dad runs now. So education was a big deal in his family. But Tyler was that misfit. His family is Mormon, so the rules were rigid. And Tyler spent most of his childhood clashing with his parents and getting bullied by his older brother, which led him to mental health struggles that would follow him for years. But one conversation in a high school locker room changed the entire trajectory of his life, when his football team captain tried to convince everyone to buy Bitcoin. This was in 2018, when Bitcoin was under $10,000. Everyone brushed it off, except Tyler, who went home and started researching crypto that night. And by his junior year, he was spending every free minute studying charts and throwing money at Forex accounts. He had made some money early on from crypto, blew it all trying to day trade and on side hustles. By the time he hit college, the University of Utah, his bank account was negative $2,000. He was in debt to friends, door dashing to survive, asking customers for physical cash tips to put gas in his car, and stealing the last delivery of the night because he had nothing left to eat. He attempted to take his own life multiple times during this period. But what nobody knew is that he'd been quietly putting every spare dollar into Bitcoin. And when the 2020 COVID bull run hit, those investments made him a millionaire almost overnight. And once the financial pressure disappeared, his trading just clicked. He already had the skills from years of studying. He just couldn't execute it when he needed every trade just to pay rent. So the moment he could trade without emotion, he became consistently profitable. So he sat his dad down, showed him 6 months of screenshots and track records, and his dad couldn't even argue anymore. So Tyler dropped out of college for good. But having money didn't fix his head. He was still stuck in the same college town, started binge drinking and partying, and hit a second rock bottom where he had generational wealth but hated himself. So he moved to Puerto Rico with 0% capital gains tax, 4% corporate tax, and bought a $2 million house and completely reinvented himself. In the first month on this island, he 10x'd his income. And this is where the content strategy that built the $20 million empire really starts. Tyler chose TikTok first because it was the easiest place to start. There was almost no trading content on the platform at the time, which meant zero competition and a massive audience of young people who had never been exposed to this type of content before. And TikTok was perfect for him because the barrier of entry was basically non-existent. He would just go for a walk after the market closed, pull out his phone, and talk about what happened that day. And the thing that ultimately made him blow up was that he showed all of his losses. At the time, every other trader on the internet was only posting wins. Big green numbers, screenshots of six-figure days. And Tyler would get on camera and say, I lost $12,000 today. And people were shocked because nobody was doing that. But the radical transparency is exactly what he built his entire audience on. Because for the first time, people felt like they're watching someone who were actually telling the truth about what trading actually looks like day to day. And once that started working on TikTok, he took the same approach to YouTube, but with a completely different content strategy. On TikTok, the content was short, raw, and designed to capture attention from people who had never heard of him. But on YouTube, the content was designed to build trust with people who already knew who he was. But the way that he structured his YouTube is actually what turned his TikTok following into a $20 million business. He built out a 58 episode series that's essentially a free course walking through everything he knows about trading, which gives new viewers hours of value before they even spent $1 with him. He posts daily trade recaps where he shows his bias going into the day and then transparently shows whether he was right or wrong, which kept his existing audience coming back day after day because they wanted to see how he performed. Then he would film lifestyle vlogs, document his day-to-day in Puerto Rico, which builds that parasocial connection where viewers feel like they actually know him as a person and not just an influencer or a trader. And then on the short form side, he split his content into two categories: the serious day trading education that drives people to YouTube, and the entertainment content where he's just cracking jokes, doing bits, and going viral with stuff that has nothing to do with trading, which pulls an entirely new audience that would never have clicked on a chart breakdown video. And the volume behind all of this is genuinely insane. Over 671 long form YouTube videos in just 2.5 years, and on short form, he's posted 504 times in the last 30 days alone, which comes out to nearly 17 posts per day. But the reason this works isn't just because of the volume for volume's sake. Each type of the content feeds a different part of the funnel, and together they create a system where someone can discover TGR through a funny TikTok, binge his bootcamp on YouTube, watch him trade live every day, and build trust over weeks and months, and eventually actually want to learn from him directly. And the insight behind why TGR wins where most creators don't comes down to what I call the one thing. You see, while most creators are spreading themselves thin, trying to optimize every detail of their brand, tweaking their bio, redesigning their thumbnails, and rewriting their about page, TGR doesn't do any of that. His one thing is simple: be a profitable trader, make a ton of money, and document it every single day. If he does that at the highest level, everything else just falls into place on its own. He doesn't need high production value because his audience doesn't care about that. Most of his content is shot on an iPhone, and the value is in the lifestyle and the transparency, not the cinematography. And that consistency of just showing up every single day with real numbers and real wins and real losses is what built his Instagram to 1.2 million followers and his YouTube to 910,000 subscribers, and an audience and truly a community of watches everything he posts, no matter what it is. But the part that separates TGR from every other trading influencer, never mind every single info entrepreneur on social media, is how his purchases actually make him more money. Because when you see that he buys a $300,000 Brabus G-Wagon, or a $3.5 million Koenigsegg, a $600,000 Ferrari, a $500,000 Rolls Royce, and a $2 million house in Puerto Rico, it looks like a 23-year-old is just burning through all of his money that he makes. But every single purchase is chosen because it holds value. He buys it, uses it for content while he owns it, generates millions of views that fuels his business, and resells it for the same amount or more. And he's been actually completely open about this, saying it on camera that he doesn't even care about supercars, but his audience loves them, so he has the money to spend, and it makes for great content. So his system is literally engineered in a way where spending creates the content creates the attention creates the revenue that funds more spending. It's a flywheel where every dollar he spends actually comes back with interest. And the monetization behind all of this attention is a strategy that actually gets kind of sophisticated. TGR uses a value ladder, where essentially someone enters for free and gets moved up through progressively higher priced products. First, they fill out a form with their info and get scored from A to D based on how financially qualified they are. Then they spend $27 on a trading blueprint as a tripwire funnel, and if they decline it, they get redirected to a McDonald's job application, which is hands down one of the most on-brand, memorable funnel moves I have ever seen. Once they buy the $27 product, they get an onboarding call that's actually a sales conversation for his mastermind, which runs between $2,500 and $7,500. And what makes his mastermind different than all the other trading products is that he refuses to do signals, where gurus just ping their students every time they make a trade so everybody can blindly copy it. TGR hops on a live call every single day when the market opens, explains his strategy and bias, and lets his students make their own decisions, which actually builds real skill instead of dependency on him. On top of the mastermind, he actually has an affiliate deal with the brokerage that pays him recurring revenue, and his platform generates $30,000 to $50,000 a month for just him directly. But the move that really shows where TGR is headed is KillTech, a streetwear brand he started with his best friend Carson that he openly calls his retirement play. In under a year, their first capsule sold out in 30 minutes. Their second did over 200K in an hour, and their third did 315K in just 10 minutes, with shirts from the first drop that sold for $100, and now they're reselling for almost $1,000. And that's a layer that ties the entire empire together, because TJR isn't building a content business that depends on him showing up every day. He's building a brand with real equity that doesn't need his platform to exist. Trading pays for his lifestyle, the lifestyle creates the content builds the audience feeds the mastermind, and the clothing brand creates the asset that will outlive all of it. Every piece feeds into the next, and that's why no single point of failure can take the whole thing down. Now, you probably don't sell a trading mastermind. You're probably not buying a $3.5 million car for any content anytime soon, but the framework behind what TGR has built works the exact same for any creator or business owner who's using content to grow and generate revenue. Whether you're building a personal brand, running a business, or growing a channel, the principles are identical. Your short form content captures attention from your target audience at scale. Your long form content on YouTube builds enough trust that by the time someone reaches out, the objections have already been handled build, and your system converts that trust into revenue without starting from scratch with every single person that you speak to. The question is whether you have the system in place to make it happen, or whether you're posting content and hoping something sticks. So if you don't know where to go from here, that's why I built a completely free training on my YouTube. Inside, I break down everything you need to attract the right audience to your channel and then convert that audience into engagement and revenue. From the scripting framework that keeps people watching, to the retention system that shows up exactly where your viewers drop off, to the 3-part channel structure that moves someone from discovering you to booking a call, to a full tracking system from which video is actually bringing in leads and which types of videos aren't. So if you want to watch that, it'll be on the screen somewhere about right now. And if it's not, it'll be in the description below. So go check it out. It's completely for free. It's on my YouTube, and I'll see you there.